All right, guys, here's your big brother again. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something really important today, and something as that I've learned to be grown as a grown adult is that something very important is reputation. I mean, even in books like The Law of Power, reputation is everything. The reason reputation means so much is because of the simple fact that reputation is how people perceive you, right? And how perception is reality, right? Because the reality, right, and the perception of reality are two different things. Now, we must learn how to deliberately go into this world understanding that a lot of people do not have the understanding that you have, okay? We see the world differently. We see the world differently and we go about it differently, right? You could see basically, like, let's say this sock, right? Somebody will see this sock and you'll be like, wait, this sock is nothing. Like, it's just something you wear. Somebody else can be like, this is an artistic piece that we can make this, or we could clean, do this and the third. A lot of people don't think about all the possibilities that come with one thing. Now, what happens is, right, that leads to you being outside of the framework. When you're outside of the framework and people don't understand you, they feel you, right? Like, if you have higher intelligence or in any form of way, it doesn't need to exactly be school intelligence. There's many forms of intelligence. You could be intelligent in school, you could be emotionally intelligent. But whenever you are above your peers, right, the signs start creeping through. And what happens is your reputation, if you do not work on the social climate with reputation, right? What happens is if you start over exceeding or just are different from the pack, you will be ostracized, right? Because there's somebody that's either going to be jealous or you're going against the status quo, which is against somebody in power, right? So what reputation really goes into is really the politics of human beings, right? Because depending on how human beings feel specifically, right? I mean, nowadays everybody's emotional. Everybody's gonna get butthurt about things, so you have to learn how to navigate that. And where that starts is reputation, right? For example, I can say nigga because I'm black, but if a white person said nigga, it'd be a problem. And to me, that is racism. But the perception of it, right? Because the reputation of that white people had of colonizers and everything, even though that was 6, 7 generations ago, and of course, there's obviously the small minority that's still, you know, is racist, or even if they is large, whatever the hell it is, we still box them into that, and then they can't say certain things. I mean, we see certain things and we believe certain things because it's the status quo, but in all reality, is reputation, right? Because reputation preceded them from generations ago, right? Because it could be a hippie, it could be anybody, and we're always gonna assume that they have better rights, and also they people carry on that reputation, in which where I get stopped and it's a much more tense environment, and I just relax, right? But the other part of it is perception and reality, right? The perception is that minority groups get targeted more by police, right? Which is not necessarily wrong. But the reality of it is, it's not necessarily black people or minorities, because it can be anybody, right? The point is, we were put in poverty, and poverty breeds more crime. And if you look back into my video on minorities in the USA, you'll get a better understanding of why we have been put down in such a scale and why these systems are in play and how things are derived. I mean, I kind of touched it in pretty in depth, but in all reality, you can talk about that every day, all day. But what I will say is that reputation is important because of simple things like that, right? Perception, reality. We don't look at it as in, okay, poverty bred this type of person, and this type of person is more aggressive, and this type of person is more aggressive because they have less money and they have worse situations and all this. That's why when cops stop them, usually, and I, as a minority, I've seen this, we have bigger attitudes, right? Why is that? Because we are not as educated, but it's not looked that way. The reputation is, oh, they're always against me. You get what I'm saying? Because of previous situations. So let's say you lie once, credibility is gone for you. So you could say 1,000 truths, but one lie will break you. You can say 1,000 lies, but one truth might break you. See, because sometimes, right, perception can look at the lies. For example, when I was younger, I used to have to lie to my mother. See, my mother was a pathological liar. And on top of that, she had a lot of narcissism and a whole bunch of things that just really damaged her brain. So what I had to do and I had to become was a pathological liar myself, because if not, I was going to get beat. So to lie, to escape certain things is not a rare thing. Many people do that. But many people also do that because their reputation needs it. See, I've met men, I'm not gonna necessarily name them out, obviously you won't know them, but there's many men that even though they don't have the most money, even though they don't have the most status, want to spend all their money on fake designer. Like, that's a really big thing where I'm from in New York, and I'm pretty sure that's a big thing in any hood. I even found out that these fake designers are so good and fake clothes are so good that they're just as good as the real ones, because they're kind of made by the same manufacturers. I mean, they're the same factory workers. And when you see how all of that can seep into your life, right? So emotionally, right, if you're not emotionally intelligent, you're going to be ostracized for other reasons, and that lowers your reputation. And when that lowers your reputation, for example, right, when you say the truth, right, and it really sucks that this is the reality. We are a society that likes truth, air quotes. But when you say the truth, people ostracize you for it. Like, for example, I remember 10 years ago, right? They throw you as a conspiracy theorist or just a nut job or whatever. They start medicating you, whatever the hell it is. But they're going to ostracize you. They're going to make sure you're away from society. And your word is not taken as serious, right? Because, for example, when the 2020 virus came out, the first country it came out in, I remember seeing a whole bunch of doctors disappearing because they were trying to whistleblow on it. But the government of that first country, which we cannot say, and we all know what the 2020 virus was, okay? But just the fact that you can't even say where it came from because it's racist, even though it came from there. It's perception versus reality, right? Because they felt a type of way, we had to perceive it as a bad term, a bad thing, right? Because reputation goes a long way. Now, these people, they're like, oh, these people are good, this, that, and the third, because it goes by feeling. For example, companies, like, to go on the other side, the flip side of it is capitalism, right? Capitalism doesn't care about how you feel. Most of the time, it's just a money-hungry thing. But what happens, the reputation of it is that they don't care about anything. They do this. And anybody that has money in the system is looked at as somebody that never worked for it or got it given to them. When in all reality, about 74% of millionaires are self-made. So imagine that. And if you go even further with reputation, right? Reputation can get you now in the digitized days, reputation can get you money. Reputation can get you a life for free. So, like, for example, if you have 1 million followers, right, you can just post something, and even let's say 1,000 people out of the million, which is not even 1%, 1,000 people out of the million buy one product, you get money from your affiliation. But let's say that's $10. You just made $10,000 over a post. And isn't that such a way to make money? I mean, isn't that such a big thing in our society that reputation can hold money like that? I mean, reputation can make you a president. Reputation can take you a long way, because how people perceive you is more important than who you really are in our modern day and in our simulation or universe, whatever you want to believe in. But in modern day right now, where we are at, and what the play of human beings that we have together, it's only reputation. Because the smartest people, it doesn't matter if you're the smartest person unless you can make the people that are on top feel like you're doing stuff, right? For example, there's Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison. Nikola Tesla died broke and killed himself because he didn't have much to give into the world in economic money. Like, he was trying to plan out, like, you see wireless charging, that shit was done 100+ years ago when Tesla did the AC system, where he could transfer electricity without any ports or wires from one location to another. And then he was so indifferent to it when his books disappeared, but he was trying to make electricity free for the whole world from the own power of the planet. You know, you fast forward to Thomas Edison, and he didn't even create the light bulb or any of his invention. He just got scientists, bought out their patents, and made sure he can make money out of it. But who's the, bigger reputation? I mean, if you look at the world, who you talk to, Thomas Edison had it, but Nikola Tesla did not. And the reason Nikola Tesla did not is because he couldn't play the politics right. So his reputation was definitely destroyed by other people that didn't like him because he didn't align with the goals. So sometimes you might be the most overqualified person, but that's not good, right? Because you're standing out and you're making your whoever your master or whoever's on top of you feel afraid. See, in the 48 Laws of Power, they speak on this. They speak on you never want to outshine your master. Why? Because your outmaster will fucking take you out. And when he takes you out, he's not going to take you out because you're incompetent. It's because you're better than him. So whenever you go somewhere and you might be better than the people there, you don't want that to be known. Because then the reputation goes in, oh, he's cocky. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's such a dickhead. Oh, he's mean. Oh, But when you don't, people tend to love you. And that's really the conundrum with that, right? Because you want to be factual, and you can be factual with yourself if you think logically, but you cannot share that with just anybody. Most people nowadays are so dumbed down that they don't know either what continent they live in, they don't understand simple computing, they even don't understand simple words. Most people have lack of grammar. I mean, I sometimes do. I had to teach all of this to myself. Why? Because people don't really want to teach you things. And we live in such a modernized age in which digitization has allowed to the democratization of information. See, we're slowly, being closed in. But as of right now, you can still look up the majority of information that was given throughout all of history. You could read on Plato and also Nietzsche at the same day that you're reading on World War II and World War I and the prehistoric eras. You can look at museums and all these things that are most likely free in your city. And if they're not, they're probably really low. Depending on who you are, obviously. $10 might be a lot to somebody. But, I remember that was a lot to me. But how you present yourself to other people and your representation and your reputation is very key for advancement. It can get you higher jobs. It can get you a lot of things. But the key to it is to not reveal your cards and to make yourself part of the pack. And the saddest part is, right, that for a lot of us, that's hard to do, but that's the most effective way. Why? Because when you let your reputation go down, right? And your reputation goes all around. And let's say people start knowing about the things you do, even if you're coming at it from a very, very good place in your heart, they start throwing energy your way, and it might be negative. Why? Because it doesn't vote for them. Like, for example, the other day I watched this movie, and it was a chef, right? And the chef came in, he was sitting in front of the restaurant. It was his first day. And one of the chefs, he didn't know that was the new chef, main chef. He threw coins at his cup. And he's like, oh, homeless people aren't supposed to sit here. He's like, I'm not homeless. He's like, I wasn't asking for change. This is my coffee. Anywho, fast forward, he finds out that he's his boss. And then he was like, listen, I don't care that you have prejudices towards people. I really just care that you cook. And that man did not think that was going to end that way, because in his head, he's like, I wouldn't have done that. So all of a sudden, he starts spreading rumors. And those rumors end up causing a lot of different things to happen. So with that being said, protect your reputation at all costs. Because your reputation in the social frame is the most important thing of all. Because even specifically with women, I hate to put it that way, but a lot of women cannot hear the truth, and a lot of men either. A lot of men are feminized nowadays and emotional, right? And I hate to put it that way, but it's just reality. Because when you tell a woman something, she spreads it. Like, you can be honest and tell her, like, yo, I did this, that, and the third, and then they tell their friends. It could also just be who you pick, because this does happen with men. Like, do not get me wrong, especially nowadays, this does happen with men. Like, this is not just a specific female issue, but they do it at a bigger rate than men. Because at least with some of us, we don't move that way. But women, 95% of them move in that way, where they're very social beings. So whatever you say to them, especially if it's bad, it's going to get to everyone else. So with that being said, stay vigilant, read the 48 Laws of Power, and protect your reputation, because reputation is the reality that people see, okay? Objective reality is not reality, okay? Perception is reality. Take care.